Kirsten, talking to us. Did I see that right? Talking to us about effects of internal tag size on the swimming performance and physiological indicators of stress and growth.
The central focus of the study was to investigate how internal tag size affects brook trout. Internal tags are an example of biotelemetry. Biotelemetry can be defined as the monitoring, recording, and measuring of a living organism's basic functions through the use of tracking technologies. Tracking technologies have greatly advanced fisheries research over the last few decades, allowing researchers to produce more in-depth data and better graphs, more information. As you can see in the bottom right, that's an example of a graph produced by where it depicts the movement of a fish over a period of time, and the picture on the left here shows an actual internal acoustic tag. Biotelemetry has a rule called the 2% rule that states that no internal tag should weigh greater than 2% the dry body weight of an organism. However, recent studies suggest that this rule can actually be extended to higher percentages of 6 to 12% without affecting the swimming performance. Yet, there was no information in regards to the physiological response. So besides looking at the swimming performance, it's really important to quantify how a fish is affected on a physiological level. In fish, there are three levels of stress response. First, there is a primary response, in which cortisol hormones are increased, followed by a secondary response where lactate, glucose, hematocrit, and chloride levels are also increased. And lastly, there is a tertiary response where growth is affected. And in fish, the response to stress starts adaptive, but it can become maladaptive over time. So to test for stress levels, blood samples can be taken to quantify the levels of these hormones, and you can also look at the growth rate over a period of time to see just how stressed the fish may be. Taking all this into account, I wanted to ask 4 central questions in this study. So first, I wanted to know, how does mortality increase with tag size? I also wanted to know if tag retention was affected by increased tag size. Third, I wanted to know how the swimming velocity was actually affected by the tag being inserted inside of the fish. And last, I wanted to know how stress was changed. So for my methods, I had 47 brook trout in total. I constructed dummy tags out of cylindrical lead covered by an inert plastic covering. This is an example of a dummy tag that was actually used in our study. So they're rather large in comparison to the fish. There was 3 experimental groups. The first was a sham group, which was surgery only, a light tag treatment, which was tagged between 3 to 7% body weight, and a heavy tag treatment, which was between 8 to 12% body weight. A sham group was used in order to eliminate, or help eliminate, the possibility that the results were due to the surgery itself and not the tag. The experiment was broken into 3 sections over an 8-week period. T1 was a tagging day, where we actually inserted tags into the fish. T2 was a swimming performance day, where we swam fish inside of a swimming flume, which you can see in the picture on the left. And a swimming flume produces a constant current that the fish are forced to swim in, and once they fail, that's how we calculate the fish itself. And the last day was T3, where blood samples were taken for all the fish. And the picture to the right depicts some of the blood samples taken. This is after the fish was released on euthanasia. So this is a picture depicting the tag insertion. So after the fish were anesthetized, a dummy tag was inserted ventrally above the pelvic fins for a 1 centimeter incision. And you can see the tag right there being inserted through that incision. Don't mind the orange. The incision was then sutured up, and the fish were placed back into a recovery pit where they were able to regain homeostasis and then placed into the general population once again. So as for the results of my study, there was no mortality between treatment groups. Not one fish died throughout the study, which is really surprising given the large nature of these tags. This is important because in any telemetry study, if a fish dies, you aren't going to get any data. The difference between light and heavy tag retention was quite surprising. Light tags had an 88.5 retention rate, and heavy tags had a very low 25% retention rate. 12 out of our 16 fish actually lost their tag in that treatment group. This is particularly significant because if this had been a field study, we would have lost a lot of money, time, and data. For swimming performance, I measured the crit, which is the critical swimming speed, and this is a measure of the maximum sustainable swimming velocity, and was measured in body lengths per second in an effort to normalize the data for different size fish. The results indicate that there was no difference between the groups, so the swimming performance was not affected by tag size. This is particularly important due to brook trouts, where they're natively from, which is fast-moving streams and rivers. And it's also important because many strains are actually sea-run, meaning they go out to sea and return, so they need to be able to swim at the proper velocity. So if this is affected, it might affect their reproduction habits. Out of all of our hormone sampling and blood sampling, cortisol was the only one with a significant correlation with tag size. However, this is not without a effect, which I'll explain in a second. So as you notice in these graphs and the ones thereafter, this is the sham group, this is the light tag group, and this is the heavy tag group. So you'll notice there's two major outliers. There's the first one, this is the second one. Both these outliers significantly affect the correlation here. The first, the highest most outlier can be explained by a large aging wound on the ventral side of the fish. You could actually see the tag inside of the fish as it was swimming. It never healed back up. And that's the reason for the major spike. So if these two cases are removed from the data, then the cortisol results are no longer statistically significant, just like the rest of our blood samples, indicating that there is no correlation between increased tag size and increase in these blood stress levels. In order to look at the tertiary response to stress, I looked at the growth rate. So the first measure was a fork length. The fork length measured from the snout of the fish to the fork in the middle of the tail. And for this, you really just want to pay attention to the trend line. So from T1 to T2, there was a negative trend, meaning that increased tag size decreased the growth rate. However, this normalizes from T2 to T3 roughly a few weeks later, and it levels out, meaning that it was compensated. Over a period of time. The same can be found in mass, though the leveling out is not as dramatic. Both of these were insignificant, and so there was no correlation. The last measure of complement stress I looked at was condition factor, and condition factor is a quick mathematical formula used by fishery biologists to give fish a rating of poor, fair, good, or excellent, and it's calculated using the fish's weight and length. And by measuring changes in condition factor between periods, I was able to tell just how fish was responding throughout the study. The results of the change in condition factor were statistically significant. There was a trend for a negative change in condition factor. And it's important to note that although there is a negative change, these changes were very small, and in the grand scheme of things, there wasn't much of an actual change in ranking. What I mean by that is there was no fish that went from a condition factor rating of good to poor by the end of the study, with the exception of our two outliers. The overall conclusions I was able to make from this study were that the 2% rule is a highly conservative guideline, meaning that it can be extended to higher percentages. These percentages do not want to exceed 6% because of tag retention problems. So overall, if there was one statement to make in this study, is that when dealing with brook trout, no tag should weigh more than 6%. I'd like to thank Dr. John Kelly for his help from the start to end of this project. I'd like to thank Pat Goat for his help both in and out of the lab. I'd like to thank the Corn Laboratory for hosting me, letting me use their fish, and treating me as one of their colleagues. And I'd like to thank Scott Bullock of Salty Dr. Lors for donating the materials to make my dummy tags. And lastly, I'd like to thank all of my professors from MR 101 or MR 501 and 502 for helping me every step of the way. Thank you.
How did they lose the tag that was sewn into their body?
So that's a really cool question, because you would think that the sutures would pop out for most of them. So most of the time the sutures actually broke and the tag was lost through the incision. However, there was at least 3 or so cases, I think there's 3, where the sutures were still present, meaning that there was an active expulsion of the tag, either through the mouth or through the anus or somewhere. So how that happened, we don't know.
This is not abnormal. You work out the volleyball.
It was pretty interesting. It's possible that they were rubbing the bottom, because we did notice that some of the fish were actually rubbing the bottom of their tanks, meaning that maybe they rubbed the sutures enough to where they broke open. But it was pretty interesting to see.
One other just comment.
Eventually
All of
they
the
die.
fish are gonna die on
Sadly, they died at the
the,
end.
well, that sacrifice.
Yes, yes.
So what was time, what would, maybe you said it, but what was time two, how long did it? was
This is over an 8-week period.
I'm sorry?
This is over an 8-week period.
8
over a
weeks.
week of break.
So between time two and time three was how much time?
It was roughly 2 weeks and a couple days. It wasn't, I would have liked to have it more of like 2 weeks, 2 weeks, and 2 weeks, but it couldn't have worked out that way due to scheduling conflicts. But it was roughly 2 weeks. I think it was actually 21 days. So almost 3 weeks.
So your total observation time is about 8 weeks? Though.
Yes. From start to end.
And just out of curiosity, how long do they hope, when you put these tags in, they're hoping that it lasts a lot longer?
We hope it lasts forever.
Forever.
Or until the conclusion of the study, which is why tag retention is so important. So if you do a telemetry study, you need that tag to stay inside of the fish throughout the study, which is why these results are even more important. Because if you're losing the tag, it's not very good at all.
Okay, I'm sorry, I cut it off there, so maybe you can ask more questions.